Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Growing and Showing, a podcast where I discuss very useful tools to build your best life. I hope you're doing well. Today we'll be talking about habits. And you might think, Sabrina, we've already talked about this. I know the habit is showing up, blah, blah, blah. If you don't know, then go and watch my very first episode because I talk about showing up there and it is life-changing. But I do want to talk about habits one more time today because I think habits are life-changing, like I said. They change your life. And yes, showing up is like the best habit ever. But I do want to talk about why even have habits, because it's a lot of work and it takes a lot of time and effort and it's never really done. Like it's always just building up and building up, building up. So I want to talk about why even have habits. And then I want to talk about how to make sure that your habits are going to stick and that they are going to give you success and help you build your best life. Because there's no point having the habit of, drying the dishes when you can just place them there on the rack. Well, that's my personal opinion. I feel like there's literally no point to drying the dishes, unless there's not enough space, but to drying the dishes when you can just let them air dry on the rack. But again, personal opinion. Okay, let's get into it. Yay, I'm so excited. So why start having habits? Why build habits? Why go through the stressful and time-consuming tasks every single day? Why do that when I can just rot in bed all day? Which would be a habit too then, because if you do it every single day, then ta-da, new habit. Okay, no, let's actually get into it. So why even have habits? So I've done some research, and while I already feel all of this, I just wanted to make sure that this is all correct. So habits actually have a lot of positive impact on your life. Number one is that if you do something again and again and again, it becomes repetitive, which means that you don't need as much effort to do it. So it starts to become automatic. You might have realized this when you started learning how to drive, if you can drive, I don't know. I haven't driven in a while, but I used to be a good driver, so hopefully I can still do it quite automatic. But when you started and you had no idea how to do it, especially manual, like there's so many things to think of. And it's so funny now thinking back, because now it's just automatic. Like you don't even think about it. Maybe sometimes you stall if you're like really not in the right headspace. Doesn't happen to me though. But yeah, so it's really helpful to have repetitive behavior become automatic. So that's number one. Number two is that in addition to it becoming repetitive and automatic, that also means that you don't have to make an active decision on it. So let's say you got a new job and you're still figuring out which way to go. Maybe you can go the left side of the block or the right side of the block. You're trying to figure out which road is quicker or whatever. So you have to make decisions actively. You're thinking, maybe I should go left and then go right and then this and that. So that's when you're finding a new way, a new road, a new whatever you want to apply to. But then once you have this automatic thing where you've already figured out that the right way is the right way, if you know what I mean. So you don't have to think about it anymore because you're doing it automatically. So there's no decision behind it anymore. No active decision making, which makes it a lot easier for your brain. So there's that. Okay, number three, another reason why is that if you have a habit, as we already said, it becomes repetitive, it becomes automatic, which means that there's new pathways being built in your brain between neurons. So the neurons that start firing together, they start to wire together. You might have heard that before. And so that means that you are starting to turn into that. You are starting to become your best self in that case, if it is a good habit, of course. So that's another good reason. And that ties into the next one, which is that it becomes a part of you. So starting a new habit, let's take my handstand habit, like we were talking about last time. At first, I might say I am doing a handstand, but then if I do it over and over and over again, all of a sudden I become a handstander. I become a calisthenics girl. I become this gymnast. I'm not just doing it anymore, I become that. I think a really good example for that one is that I felt before as well is you know, when you start running and you're like, oh, I am running, I'm going to go for a run and all of that stuff. And then at some point, if you keep going with it regularly, not just once a year, which is fine as well, if that works, then that works. But if you start doing it regularly, then all of a sudden you start to feel like you are a runner. So it becomes part of your identity, which is really good because it makes it easier for you to do it, because every time you do it, it just convinces you even more that you are a runner, which is what you believe about yourself. So now it ties in and it makes sense for you to go for a run. It doesn't make sense to not go for the run because you're a runner. So why wouldn't you go? It's the same with people that stop smoking. I don't really know. I'm sure it's very, very difficult. But I have heard that it's easier to state, I am a non-smoker, I'm not a smoker, than to say, oh, I don't smoke, or, oh, not tonight, thanks. You know, it's just, if it's your identity, it makes it so much harder not to do it because it's you. Why wouldn't you do it? That is you. It's also a really, really cool trick to use when you want to stop something, like I just said, or you want to just change something up. You just stop identifying with it. Just start saying, that's the thing, that's the action, and that's me, and I'm not that. And it will work. I'm pretty sure, because it works for me. Okay, and then the last thing that I wanted to say why it's really good to start having habits is because habits are really rewarding. And us humans, we like rewards. We love rewards. Like, you know, when you get chocolate after you've, I don't know, after you've had a big day and you go and get chocolate, you love that reward, right? So we love rewards, and having these habits gives us rewards. Maybe we don't feel them straight away, but oftentimes once we do get in this repetitive mode, we do feel good straight away. Like after I do my handstand, I'm like, oh, I've done my handstand, tick, reward. That's a reward for me. So I feel good. And when you feel good, then you want to do it again. So it builds this loop, this really positive cycle of doing the habit, feeling good, wanting to do it again, doing the habit, feeling good, wanting to do it again, and so on. So that means you progress, right, towards what you want to go, if you have chosen the correct habit for your goal. So that's why today we're going to talk about how to actually build and form these habits, and then also how to expand on them. Because remember the very first episode we talked about, you know, just showing up as the habit, which is a good way to start because it's easier than to say, I want to do 30 minutes of this. It's easy to just say, I'm going to show up to it and then see how it goes. No pressure. But today we're going to talk about how to expand so we can actually become better and our habits become better quality. I think I could put it that way. Better quality habits. And also we're going to talk about how to connect them. Okay, so let's start. I put it into 4 steps of habit building and expanding. So number 1, the very first step is that you have to define what your habit is going to be. And this might seem silly, but I think sometimes it's very hard to figure out what it actually is that you want to do, because you might have this end goal in sight, but you don't know how to really get there. So that there's nothing wrong with that, because so I teach, and when I was studying, when I was at university, I learned about something which is called backwards mapping. And that's this really cool tool where when you don't really know how to plan a lesson just yet, what you want to do is you want to start at the end. So you're going to look at the assessment or the criteria or the end of term test or whatever it is that is at the end of this unit or this year. And once you know the end goal, then you start to go backwards and you start to look at, okay, so what do I want to achieve in this week and what do I want to achieve in this week? So have little milestones, and then once you have that, you can figure out what the day-to-day is going to look like, because you have a better understanding of what you need to get to that end goal. So you're on track, because there's no point learning how to multiply if you need to know how to subtract at the end of the unit, right? And that's also comes later. But anyways, so define your end goal if that's easy for you, or just if it's not a milestone goal that you want to achieve, if it really just is, I want to do this every day because it makes me feel good, or because I want to identify as that, like I want to draw every day because I want to be a drawer, something like that, that's fine. But if you only have that end goal, that's okay. Backwards map from it. Take it apart and think about, what do I need to do, or what do I have to learn to get there? Where do I have to go to get there. So once you know that, then you have to actually think about, what are my expectations? Clearly, what are the expectations, and are they reasonable? Like, yes, you might want to become a drawer, so you're going to draw every single day, but is it reasonable to draw a new painting or paint a new painting or draw a new drawing every single day? Is it achievable? Is it reasonable? Is it possible in your daily life? You know, are you setting yourself up to fail or to succeed? Because you have the power. Not everything just fails. It's not like, oh, well, I can't be a drawer because I can't draw a new drawing every single day. I failed at that, so I can never identify as a drawer. No. Take the power back and think, well, how can I adjust the habit that I set myself? I did that. I put myself up for failure. How can I adjust this now? How can I make it work for me? So adjust it. So think about it. How is it going to be reasonable? How is this going to work in my day-to-day life? So maybe just say, I'm going to paint or draw 15 minutes every single day. And it doesn't matter when the drawing is finished. It's just the time that I've set myself. And I have got 15 minutes every day. So that's what I'm going to do. Or maybe you have an hour. Then good for you. Maybe you can give yourself an hour. You know, so adjust and define. Define it clearly. Okay, so that's number one. Just know, what exactly is it going to look like? You have to know that first. All right, I got really worked up about this. It's not that scary. It's just make sure you know what you're doing before you start doing it. Otherwise, you're going to lose a lot of time and energy, which is sad because you could be doing better. Okay, so once you've defined it, now we are moving into our next step. Our next step I really like because I love structure. And so this one has to do with structure because it is prepare. Step 2 is prepare. So you've defined it and now we want to prepare for our habit. I know this sounds strange because the habit is what we're going to do, but you can do things before the habit to prepare for your habit. What I mean by that is you want to prepare everything around the habit to make it as accessible as possible and as easy to get done as possible. So let's say I want to start going to the gym every morning. That's my habit that I want to start to introduce because I've been struggling going in the morning. And I also know that it makes me feel good when I go in the morning. So let's say I want to do that. What can I do? What can I prepare ahead of time to make it easier for me? You should write down like the whole list, like everything that you can prepare. So for example, to go to the gym, I can fuel up my car the night before. I can get my clothes ready and place them on the chair. So I just have to put them on, like they're ready to go. I don't have to make decisions about my clothes. That would be, so tiring. So I don't have to worry about that anymore. I've got my clothes ready. I've got my car fueled. Maybe I can even place my keys somewhere ready to go. My shoes ready, my socks ready. Maybe hair ties. I know where my hair ties are. That's a really important one. I can charge my AirPods, my earphones, whatever. So I know I'm going to have a good time and I'm actually going to go. Charge my phone. Make sure my membership is still valid. That I know the way. Maybe I'm going to Google it real quick because I haven't gone in that long. The opening hours, Google the opening hours, whatever you need to do, everything you need to do that you can do to prepare for your habit. So make it as easy as possible, as accessible as possible by preparing all of these tiny little things that would add up if you had to worry about all of that in the morning, right? Because that would be a lot. Like imagine I wake up and I'm like, I said I was going to go to gym, but I don't know what to wear. I need to go and fuel my car. I don't even know where I put my keys. And I just don't want to get out of bed anymore because I don't even have fresh, clean socks. See? Very different feeling. So prepare. Okay, so that's step 2. Just think the question for prepare would be, how can I make this easier, right? Okay, and then number 3 is show up. So I have already talked about this a little bit in my first episode, but with show up, I just mean do what you agreed on. You made this plan with yourself. Whether there's someone else involved or not, it actually shouldn't matter. It should be valuable to you that you set this date. You're going on a date with yourself, or if there's someone else involved, that's fine too. But you've planned this, you've organized this, you've already put effort and time into it by preparing, by defining and preparing. So now you have to show up because remember, you respect yourself, so you're going to show up. So actually do what you agreed to do. Because remember, every time that you do show up for yourself, you are building your positive relationship with yourself, which is so valuable for your whole life. So show up for yourself, for the future you, because future you is going to love you so much for showing up. They're going to want to kiss you and hug you and say thank you, because it's just so amazing if you just go to the gym today and then again tomorrow. So show up. You've done the work. Now you just have to go and show up. So now we've actually introduced this new habit, right? Because you've defined it, you know what you're doing, you have prepared it, so it's as easy as possible, and you have showed up. So there we go. Habit achieved. Tick. But since it's a habit, of course, it doesn't end after the first time, and you're going to be doing it again tomorrow. Or maybe it's a habit that you don't do every day, but I just like to say that because it's easier to discuss it if it's a daily habit rather than saying every week or whatever. So let's say it's a habit that you do every day. You've shown up. So now you're building this habit by showing up every time. You're showing up. Maybe you've shown up 7 days, showing up. And it starts becoming a habit. You start becoming more confident with it. You start respecting yourself more. You start trusting yourself more. You start to believe this is actually not as hard as it was at the start, because you're coming into this rhythm. It's becoming automatic. It's so easy to just do it. It's so much harder not to do it than it is to do it, which is exactly what we want. You're exactly where you're meant to be. So now you've got this new habit. You've introduced it, and you are starting to feel like this is actually a habit that I am following. Now what you can start to do, here comes the fun part, the learning part, the expansion to become your best self, which is you can start to stack habits. Ooh. So let's say you have started going to the gym every morning now, and it's starting to be pretty automatic. Maybe you've done it for 3 weeks, probably not every day, unless you also go for like off days where you just stretch or something, which is good because you're still in the habit of going. But anyway, let's say you've done it for maybe 3-4 weeks or whatever, and you feel good about it. Now you can add a new habit that you do right after. So let's say you're struggling. This might be silly because maybe you don't struggle with this at all, but sometimes I used to struggle with this. Let's say after the gym you feel sweaty and stuff, but you don't shower right after because it's morning and you used to shower at night, but you feel gross and you're just not used to it, so you're not doing it. But there are showers there. You don't know why you don't do it. It's just not a habit, right? So maybe you can now add this to your gym habit as a stacked habit. So what you want to do is you want to tell yourself, after I have worked out, I will walk into the shower at the gym, right? Right when I come into the, what's it called? The clothing where you get dressed. The dressing room. Right after I get back into the dressing room, I grab my towel and get into the shower. So now I am stacking a completely new and very healthy and clean habit onto my exercise habit that I already feel really confident about, because I am a gym girl or a gym bro or whatever. I am that now. So now I can also become a clean girl as well. So stack it right onto that by using that sentence. After I do this, and really envision what is it that you do last at the gym, for example, in this example. After I go into the fitting room, after I take off my clothes, because you're probably already changing clothes anyway. So maybe you can tell yourself, after I take off my clothes, I grab the towel and have a shower. So it's in between the taking off the clothes and putting on the new clothes, which makes it so easy because now you just have to remind yourself, oh, I've taken off my clothes. All right, shower. So it's so much easier than to think, oh, when I'm going to shower, blah, blah, blah. You've already envisioned it. Now you just have to do it. And then you do it and do it and do it all over again until that becomes a habit as well. And then you can keep stacking. So that's how you can do that. So you're expanding continuously on your habits until they become so big and beautiful, and you become so successful with your habits and in your life, and you feel the progress. Those are the 4 steps. So we've got define, prepare, show up, stack. Now, I just thought I would make 2 more examples to make it a little bit more accessible and easy to understand for daily life and tasks. I think I have 2 good examples. So the first one is a pretty easy example. And I think it's good to do like short, quick, easy habits. And you might think, oh, this is boring. Like, I don't need to learn how to hang my keys up like I was saying in the other episode. But it's so good for you, because if you do this every single day, even if it's easy, it just feels good. It's like, I can do this. My first new habit example is drinking water. So every day I wake up, I want to drink water because I know I'm not drinking enough. So I want to start drinking water when I wake up. And maybe you are a little bit like that as well, because I think it would benefit a lot of people to drink water when they wake up. So let's take this as our new habit that we want to learn. Let's go back to our steps. Number 1 is define exactly what I mean with I want to start drinking water. So for me, I defined I want to drink 1 glass of water. And I know which glass I'm talking about. I want to drink 1 glass of water as soon as I wake up. So I know when, I know what, I know how. Okay, so I've defined it. Now, number 2 is prepare. So how can I best prepare? How can I make this as easy as possible? Because again, especially things in the morning, they can be so hard to do, even if it's just drinking water. So how can I make it easy for myself? What could I do? What could I do? I could already have my glass right next to me, like on my bedside table with water in it, or wherever I go. If I always go to the kitchen when I wake up anyways, maybe I can just have it there. But, you know, place it somewhere where you know you're going to be when you wake up, which this is why I like the bedside table. So I can already get it ready, or maybe in the bathroom or wherever you go. Just I can have it ready. So the night before, I'm going to grab the glass of water, I'm going to fill it up, I'm going to place it somewhere where I know I'm going to wake up and go to. So I know how to prepare, I've prepared for it, and now I'm going to show up. So when I get up the next morning, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to grab the glass of water that I've nicely prepared for myself because I love myself, and I'm going to drink it. How easy is that? Because now I just have to grab the glass of water and drink it because it's already all done for me. Because the past self has already looked out for me. It's already done it for me. Thank you, past self. Okay, and now to number 4. So we've defined it, we've prepared for it, we've successfully shown up to it. And now maybe we can think, okay, this was quite easy and quick, so maybe I can add something onto it because I don't really like my morning routine just yet. So how could I add on to this to make my morning as enjoyable as possible? So maybe, well, just ask yourself, because it's going to be different for everyone. What would I enjoy doing in the morning, or what is something that I'm struggling with at the moment in the morning? Maybe I want to add meditation or journaling, or maybe I want to move my body, or maybe I want to have a quiet moment in the morning. It doesn't have to be meditation, just a quiet morning. Maybe you know better than I do what you want in the morning. So now that you know your next habit that you want to stack, you can put it into that sentence. So after I finish drinking my glass of water, I am going to roll out my mat and sit on it to meditate. I think that's doable. I mean, there's a lot of things like the rolling out, the sitting, and then meditate. But maybe, again, if you are not into meditating just yet, maybe just say, I'm gonna sit down wherever feels comfortable, maybe even on your sofa. But not in the bed. Don't sit back down into the bed. Outside, preferably. That would be the best option. But yeah, so after I finish drinking my glass of water, I'm going to sit down just for a few minutes, quiet time. And now you have this new habit that you can do right after, and you do it every single time as soon as you place the glass back down that you finish drinking. And I've got 2 new awesome habits for you that help you build your best life. How cool is that? Very cool tool, right? The habits and the stacking and everything. I love it. I think it's so cool. It's so structured. Okay, I'm just gonna do one more example, which is a little bit different, but I think it might be quite relevant to most of us as well, especially if you work or if you have kids, which is meal prepping. I really like the idea of meal prepping. I've done it before. I do it mostly during the week. So let's say I want to start this new habit, which is meal prepping. This is a little bit of a bigger habit, right? So we really want to make sure that we define this well, because meal prepping can look very differently and they can all be fine. But what is it that you want out of meal prepping? So let's start with the defining, right? So for me, let's say, well, I work 5 days a week. So I want to make sure that I can meal prep 5 lunches, and I know that I don't really care about what I'm eating. I'm fine eating the same thing for 5 days. So I just need one meal that is fine to prep and take with me to work that lasts for 5 days. So I've defined it. I need a meal for 5 lunches to take with me. So it can't be something that I can't put into a Tupperware or wrap up. Yeah? Okay, so I've defined it. And maybe I also want to define, like, you know, I want it to be balanced, healthy. I want to make sure I've got enough protein in there. Maybe I want to make sure that I'm eating, that I also always have an orange with me because I'm really not getting vitamin C at the moment. You know, something like that. Like, know exactly what it is that you want out of your meal prep. Maybe you need a lot of carbs because you're a gym bro. Know what it is that you want out of your meal prep. So for me, for the sake of this example, I am choosing black bean wraps. I love black bean wraps as a meal prep because they're so simple but so yummy and really easy to take with me. And I don't have to heat them up at work, which is really cool. I love that. So, but it's not a salad, you know, it's better than a salad. Don't really like salad that much unless it's like a mixed salad, but just green salad is not really my thing. Okay, so I've defined it exactly what I want. I'm going to do 5 black bean wraps. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to meal prep. Okay, now I have to prepare for it, right? So what do I need to make this happen? Because I need to know when I'm going to meal prep, and I also need to know all of my groceries. So first, I'm going to write a grocery list, and obviously I'm also going to go to the grocery store to buy all of this in preparation for my habit. So I've done that. I'm gonna schedule in a couple of hours on the weekend. I like to do it on Saturdays because Sundays are off, or at least I try to. So I'm gonna schedule in already maybe like 4 hours because, you know, it is a meal prep, so it's gonna take a while. So maybe 4 hours on Saturday, maybe 3. We'll see. So 3 or 4 hours on Saturday for my meal prep. So that's already scheduled in. I've got time for that. I've got my groceries. And then also I could already make space in the kitchen if I know I'm going to need a lot of space. Maybe make sure all the pots are clean and ready to go, and make sure I've got wraps. I mean, like cling wrap or aluminium foil or something to actually wrap up my wraps, because there's no point making the wraps if I can't take them to work. So make sure I've got all of that, or maybe Tupperware or whatever. If I know I'm going to be really lazy and I might not do it, I could even prepare the pots and cutting boards and stuff already, like that they're ready to go. So yeah, so I'm prepared now. I've got definition, I have preparation, and what's next? You know it is showing up. So now I just have to show up. I've got my cutting board ready, my pots ready, all of my groceries are in the fridge and in the cupboard. Now I just have to get going. I've got time for it because I've scheduled it in for myself. Now I'm going to show up and actually meal prep for my 5 lunches this week. So that's done. Now, after I've done this for a couple of weeks and I've been successful and I feel pretty good about it, and I actually maybe started enjoying it as well because, you know, it's kind of fun. It's like a ritual that I do every Saturday now. Now I can think, okay, what could I do to expand on this? Is there something that I could stack onto my meal prep right when I finish meal prepping? And maybe you can't think of anything, but there was something in my mind straight away, which is cleaning up. Because sometimes I don't want to meal prep because I can't be bothered cleaning everything up, because I'm going to use so many pots, I'm going to use so much cutlery, I'm going to use so many cutting boards and blah, 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 all of this stuff. The fridge is going to be full. All these things in my head just add up. So I can't be bothered doing it because of everything that I have afterwards, the mess, the chaos and whatever. So maybe I could stack this new habit of cleaning up right after it. So, okay, let's do the sentence. After meal prepping, or after wrapping up all of my wraps, placing them in the fridge or whatever, after meal prepping, so there's a few options, right? There's still food scraps and stuff out on the counter and stuff. So maybe I could say after meal prepping, I will place everything back in the fridge and where it belongs, neatly, nicely, tidy, yeah? Or I can say after tidying up my food, so now I've tidied up my food as well, so I've stacked it. After tidying up my food, I will soak or wash, but maybe just soak, you know, so that it's easier when I actually do wash it. But I will soak or wash all of the appliances that I've used. So now I've cleaned up. So that's my stacked habit. And then I'm all done and everything's magically already finished as well. So I don't even have to worry about the meal prep anymore until next Saturday. I mean, probably Friday when I go and buy all the groceries for my next meal prep. But you know what I mean. Which makes it so much easier. Doesn't it just untie the huge knot in your brain when you look at it that way in these 4 steps? I think it makes so much sense. I love it. So yeah, that's it for today. I really talked a lot, I think. Just to make sure you've got the 4 steps for habit forming and expanding. Step 1, define what your habit is going to look like. Step 2, prepare to make it as easy as possible to do. Number 3, show up. to the habit. And then number 4, with time, start to stack new habits onto your old habits. And that's it. I really hope that this was useful and helpful, and I hope you give it a go, because I honestly think it is such a useful tool and it will definitely help you in building your very best life. Yeah, thank you so much for listening, and I hope I'll see you again next time. Bye!